So what is stress? Stress has a number of varying definitions. You can look them up. However, here's a real good fundamental definition. Any force that disrupts the tissue or nervous activity. This can come from things like blunt trauma, physical work like labor and exercise, psychological disturbances like emotions, heightened emotions, and mental work like learning, infections, pain, toxic chemicals, and any sensory disturbances. And we have 8 of them, including the first one, which would be interoception, which I'm going to call it the first one because it's the sense of physiology or our internal state. If we like what we feel, we typically stay in alignment with our environment, regardless of what that environment is. When we do not like what we feel, we will experience more sympathetic nervous system activation and behaviors like posturing, ignoring things, submissiveness, mirroring things, codependency, and there's a list of things that go on and on and on with this. The fun part about stress is this. It can be exposed in any of the mentioned, and yet we are all very unique to its mode of puppet string pulling. So here are a few things that are not unique to stress, and there's plenty more. But you just need to look into things like hormones and chemicals, etc., neurotransmitters, etc. But you'll see an increase in sympathetic nervous system activity. Things like adrenaline, dopamine, cortisol, energy or metabolic shifts for more ATP. And the primary job of the sympathetic nervous system is to mobilize glucose or energy for action. That is its paramount purpose. Also, here's one everybody's amygdala responds to. Air hunger. It ain't fear. Fear changes, but air hunger is real. So, what system handles our air? To what degree we train it is where the knowledge, understanding, and artistry comes in. So most of us are very aware of strength and conditioning, cardio, et cetera. These are all fun. However, most of us are not connecting dots with this stuff. At some point, every animal that uses oxygen and produces carbon dioxide has a switch that will flip any and all of this into a heightened state of survival through the nervous system. Once the nervous system activity is engaged via sensory information, that is followed by a trigger, then a story. And here are a couple examples or a few examples of stories or this triggering. That is a bear. I'm going to get the hell out of here and into my car. Scenario 2. That is a bear. Holy crap, that is a bear. I'm frozen and I don't know what to do. Here's another one. I'm in my car. That dude just cut me off. I'm going to ride his ass, then flip him off. Scenario 2. That dude just cut me off. I have no idea why he's in a rush. Maybe he needs to get to the hospital. I'm going to let him drive the way he needs to drive. I'm squatting 80% for 5 reps, for those of you who didn't know. And it feels like 100%, not 80%. I feel weak and like I'm not doing enough. I become a frustrated asshole and don't change a thing and still try to continue to squat. Scenario 2 with that one. I'm squatting 80% for 5 reps and it feels like 100%. So I stop lifting and I go for a walk. There are many other ways we could play that out or play along with that. However, I think you get the point. Once we reach a limit with our ability to work through problems, you can bet one thing. Default programming and the puppet master pulling my strings. And I will blame anything and anybody for that being the problem. So there's an old saying, slow is fast and fast is slow. If you can actually slow it down enough when training, or know when you're no longer making good mechanical or psychological choices, it's time to actually slow it down. You've reached the training precipice. You can bet how to move air is directly tied into this as well. Your breathing will be affected in these changes. Whether it's a bear, whether it's in the gym, whether it's running, or whether it's driving a car. Air hunger changes because our nervous system changes, because the activity of things change. Our brain changes. So learn to slow it down enough to stay aware of where these behaviors creep in. This is exactly why we provide the programming that we provide here. Is we're connecting these dots into everything we are doing. It's not just jumping in the gym and doing it and getting after it. It's what am I thinking when I'm actually doing it? So that when I am confronted with a bear or some asshole cutting me off, or even worse, I know how to make a good decision.